If you hear anything or see anything, or if I say anything that halfway has any kind of value, it's God's idea. If I do something and it's typically stupid Randy that's dumb and sounds something else, that's mine. I own 100% of that. So my epiphanies are not my own, I must admit.
You just heard Randy Martin from Covenant Community Services and Covenant Coffee talk about foster youth and what they're doing in the community to empower these youth and get them prepared for the next stages of their life. In today's show, we discuss foster youth, coffee, tacos, 500 bikes riding through a living room with Randy Martin from Covenant Services and Covenant Coffee. Be sure and stay tuned, and you will hear what not to do if you don't want to get arrested in Germany as a spy. And you'll also learn more about what Randy's quote is that he lives by. So I think you'll really enjoy this show. I certainly did. And stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Our 2 Cents podcast, the show where your local professionals sit down with an array of guests to hear their story and impart some wisdom for both business and life-improving skills. This is your place to hear business and community leaders discuss relevant topics that matter to you.
Welcome to the show. I'm interviewing Randy Martin with Covenant Services and Covenant Coffee, and we'll get into that and talk a little bit more about his mission. I'm Dave Plivelich. I'm with the Marcom Group. Before we actually get into today's episode, I would like to encourage our listeners to check out last week's episode with Andrea Hill, and she talks about her leukemia journey, and which led to the creation of her new nonprofit. Randy, I am so freaking happy to have you joining us today. Thanks for being here. I can't wait to get into some of the topics today. How long have we known each other, buddy?
Man, I really don't know. But yeah, thank you for having me.
I think I was over on Mineral Court when we got connected out there by the airport.
Oh, for sure. I had an earthquake in that building.
Did you?
Yeah, with you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. It's traumatic. It's
no, that's the first one I felt. Lived here my whole life. That's the first earthquake. I usually somehow I'm out of town.
Just learn something new.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, jumping into this here, tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your background?
Well, I'm Randy Martin. I'm born and raised here in Bakersfield, the baby of 6 kids, and lived on the east side my whole life. This is very far away from me, from my stomping grounds. I usually never cross 99, so this is a lot of fun. But yeah, so grew up here, went to local schools, played soccer at Cal State, and quickly after that started serving people. Thought I was going to be in education. Got involved with developmentally disabled adults at Bakersfield ARC, and then went to a camp for foster kids in 1995. And since that time, my trajectory of life has been serving foster children, foster families, foster youth.
So you started out with Covenant Community Services, and then from that branched off into...
No, Covenant was an outcome of serving foster youth at a volunteer camp for children, Royal Family Kids Camp for 6 to 11-year-old foster kids. Okay. And so it was at that camp that I really kind of got an aha moment that this is something that I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And then by 99, we launched Covenant Foster Care.
Okay.
And recruiting, training, certifying families to take kids in. And then everything just evolved from there to what you see today. Programs serving 18 to 24-year-olds, Covenant Coffee, and a bunch of fun stuff.
Well, I don't know if you know, I'm on the board for Victory Family Services, and so we do foster parent training and placement and adoption. You know, getting into that and understanding. I mean, I know you know all these numbers, but it just I love to repeat this. So our listeners understand this. When we talk about homeless, over 30% of the homeless are foster.
Yeah, and that can go up and down every year, but that's a minimum. And kids age out of the system straight to homelessness usually. And so, it's not only a feeder, but an outcome for foster youth. And there's so many other horrible statistics around domestic violence and child abuse and incarceration and early pregnancy and you name it, these youth face. And so our role is to get there and stand in the way and say, hey, how can we help you up and out?
Yeah. So there's really not a lot of programs out there for once foster youth hits 18. They're just pretty much, if the family keeps them part of their family, but a lot of them families don't, and they're just kind of like, hey, out the door and good luck. And
so California extended foster care voluntarily to youth. They can stay in from 18 to 21, but it's not foster care in a family. You're at a place like Victory. It's where they have their own apartment. Yeah. Somebody's providing for them, case management, social services, soft skills, education, mentoring, all those things. So we do that as well. And then there's housing that comes with it. So there's a little bit of a safety gap here up until 21. Okay. But still, I mean, guys like you and me, our frontal lobe's still developing, and neurologists tell you that, it's not even really done until 25. So it's kind of, I think, fairy tale to think that we can have a foster youth that's had no training, no shaping, no background, no mentoring, nobody there as a safety net, that all of a sudden we're going to bippity boppity boop them at 21 and they're going to be perfect citizens and ready to roll. So, that's not happening now with, 30-year-olds that are living with their mom and dad and grandparents, and they're not even foster kids, right? So let's just be real about it. It's a different situation, a different culture, different mindset. So they need that assistance. And, Kern County's doing a great job, I think. We can always get better, but at serving and supporting. So we have a lot of beds that are out there that are available for youth to launch their life, start a home, and then a lot of resources that are dumped in, and that's what we provide to not just say, hey, maybe you can get on welfare and everything will work out. That's not our dream, is that you never experience any of the things that you experienced as a child. You don't have a poverty mindset in any way, shape, or form about money, about success, about finances, about whatever. And so we see lights come on the first time they go and have an art class or music instrument or go to a hockey game or eat a steak or do anything, have somebody believe in them for a moment at all. And the lights come on. It's like, well, I can be something else beside a statistic, which is usually the outcome. And so you're dead on right with the homeless start on this conversation, is that, that's the expectation. The expectation isn't that you're going to do well and thrive. It's like, just make it and maybe don't go to prison.
Yeah, or end up with an addiction or alcoholism.
Yeah.
So when did you start Covenant Coffee, and what was that? You've had a lot of epiphanies in your life.
Yeah, tell them about it. Yeah, I have. I'll just tell you this, the epiphanies are not my source, right? So if you hear anything or see anything, or if I say anything that halfway has any kind of value, it's God's idea. If I do something and it's typically stupid Randy that's dumb and sounds something else, that's mine. I own 100% of that. So my epiphanies are not my own, I must admit. But yeah, one of them was at the camp, and a little boy named Jerome who had been beaten with electrical cords and had cigar burns in his leg. And I'm supposed to send him home from camp because he's punching kids. And I'm the rookie. But I'm the one with the educational background. I go talk to him, and had coached soccer in a little league. So I go talk to this giant 11-year-old. So I go talk to him at the back of this cabin, and he's like, "You don't care about me. You don't, what do you know? I know I want you to stay at camp this Tuesday." And I'm the guy who came to be here. "Well, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "I raised my hand in church." That was the deal. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, where are your kids?" I'm like, "My kids are at home." And he's like, "How much do you get paid to be here?" Like, I don't get paid anything. Nobody up here is paid. This is volunteer camp for you. Because everybody in my life's paid. And he starts going down the list of his foster parents, his teacher, his mentor, his therapist, his tutor, everyone. And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, I'm not paid. I got kids at home. I just don't want you to hit anybody. And just, don't you have what'd your therapist say? Count to 10. Yeah. Stay here. And he goes, "Well, you don't care about my life." I go, "Just tell me some things." That's when he starts telling me about his mom doing tricks. And then the guys beating her. And when they were done beating her, they do drugs and they beat him. And that's where he showed me the scars. And I just started crying. He came over. He put his hand on my shoulder. He goes, "It's going to be okay."
Oh, wow.
And that was one of those moments. It was like, wow, those are people I want to help.
Yeah.
That took that pain that they had in their bottle and suddenly said to me, "It's going to be all right." And it's that kind of drive and tenacity. And so every foster youth is a hero to me. Yeah. Really, they're just a hero waiting to walk into their shell.
Yeah.
Not out of it, but into it, and then leaving trauma and drama behind and starting to figure out who I am and catch their stride. And we see it happen all the time. That doesn't mean it's not a process. And, I was sharing a little bit with you about my process of losing my father and just understanding and starting to navigate through my own stuff, but relating it to a child that was taken away at 7 years old. Yeah. Not of their own design or anything they did, but because an adult who should have been serving them and supporting them and helping them instead chose a needle or a man or some other thing or a woman or whatever they chose. And the kid got caught in the shuffle and went in the system and then had to deal with all the things that is. The government wasn't designed, nor was Human Services, and they do a great job. They try to. Kern County does a great job. But, it's not designed to be a parent. A parent is designed to be a parent. Yeah. And so these kids carry this drama and trauma from that one little instance and all the things that went on along with it. The firemen that came and when the house was burned down by the meth pipe, and the man in the white car that came and took him to the shelter.
Yeah.
And the first foster parent that, because they were in it for the money, not for the right reason, made them sit at another table, and all the things that they get. And then suddenly at 18, 19, when I talk to them, they're supposed to be fine. Like they just graduated high school and everything's cool. But they don't really, nobody wants to talk about the junk and pain they went through. And if you don't resolve that grief of loss, then you're just carrying those rocks around, like your own personal little backpack of pain. Yeah. And every interaction, every relationship we have, we're just carrying it. And it doesn't have to be a foster kid. I'm just saying to you, I connected those dots. But it could be anything we face. It could be, I wanted that job, or I wish my son and daughter didn't grow up with Down syndrome, or I can't believe I have cancer, or, any of the things we get, all the loss, not just of a person, a loved one, the loss, my marriage ended, my relationship ended, my best friend moved away, anything. Yeah. And we have to really take the time to reflect and allow that process to go through. Kubler-Ross did a great job with her 5 stages, but I believe it's way more in depth than 5 stages of grief. There's these giant things that we go in and out of each time. And so you may also recycle these grief moments. You hear that song and aging. And so we can't remember why we came into the room, but we can remember the song that was playing when the wind blows a certain way at Hart Park in 1981. What the heck? So you have these associations that are so subconscious, but they attack those deep feelings that we don't deal with. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out, a way to communicate that with our youth, because it's, you're uncovering a giant scar, really. You're just peeling a Band-Aid off and saying, hey, look, you didn't even know this. 1, you didn't know you had a Band-Aid. 2, you didn't know you had a cut.
That's a big thing for me that I'm trying to remember. I think it was turning 40, and I kind of experienced this. You can't change your past. Your past. But the only thing you really have control over is changing perception of what it was. And foster youth and that stuff's going on. At those ages too, they're blaming themselves. Like, what's I caused this. Oh, I said something and pissed that person off, and they hit me, and it has nothing to do with them. It was the environment they happened to be living in. And they've got no control over that, but they take so much blame for it, right. and getting them to get past that, and like your current situation doesn't have to dictate who you become. And,
that's right.
And, not everybody's born with silver spoons, and I certainly wasn't, but you can navigate out of that with the right people, mentors, and the right people around you that have that mentality, that aren't holding you back, you know, so.
Yeah, and you're hitting it on the head, but that's, when I'm going through this process, I'm trusting and relating to the people that I know that are, as well as me, maybe have gone through it or have faced something similar. Yeah. So I'm not trying to navigate an open ocean by myself. I'm going to go find somebody who knows what they're doing and has been through this, but at least talk to them. And that's, I think, one of the places we can get trapped. I know the foster youth get trapped, because who wants to talk about growing up and getting beaten? Who wants to talk about your uncle having sex with you? Who wants to talk about not having food on your table? Who wants to talk about any of the negative things? Yeah. But yet, that's the thing you have to talk about to leave the past and go forward. We talk with youth all the time, say, man, at one point you have to deal with this. Otherwise, it's unresolved. But at the same time, once you know about it and acknowledge it and deal with it, you don't drive a car forward looking in the rearview mirror. You need to use it for what it's for, but look forward and keep moving forward. Yeah. And so we're seeing a lot of great success with it, but only because we're pushing those boundaries. Anybody could get somebody a job, a driver's license, even a house, whatever. I mean, I know a lot of so-called quote unquote normal people with big time jobs and are doing great, and they're miserable. Yeah. Because they haven't dealt with the crud they needed to deal with. Yeah. And I'm not saying everybody needs to go find a closet and beat their inner child, but I mean, you gotta figure out why I act the way I act. Yeah. And I know that, so like, with my dad's thing, I was kind of feeling guilty that I didn't see him as much as I did. He had memory care issues, so he was living in a home. But we went through COVID during this time, so I couldn't see him.
And he passed away in July, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You hit this COVID deal, that's outside of my control, and it's a licensed state facility. So every time somebody gets COVID, it's shut down for 2 weeks. So there's nothing you can do. Yeah. So I know he's in there, not thriving and not doing well, but you can't go see him. Yeah. But still, I'm a human, and I deal with that. That's a guy that's always been there for me, and I want to be there for him, as all our siblings did. But you don't. So you got to deal with the guilt, and then you finally have to get to the reality, like, well, what the hell am I going to do with this now? And what I can do with it is go, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. And if I have an opportunity to call a friend or say hi to someone and just check in, I'm going to do it. Literally, if I'm driving here, if I get a guy, girl, somebody put on my head, I'll pick up the phone, call them, and say, hey, how you doing? Just thinking about you. Because you never know what that conversation is going to lead to. And those people are saying, man, I wish somebody would call me. I need a lifeline. It's the TV show. So you never know. So you have to take those moments where we're feeling the pain of it and flip it and say, what can I learn from it? Yeah. And that's the lessons we want to, in turn, help those guys with. Because I still believe that everybody has a purpose and a passion for something, and sometimes we just miss it. But we're given that little dash between the year we're born and the year we die.
That's it, brother. Yeah.
You got to rock that dash.
Yeah. We know the born on date. We don't know the end date.
Right.
And it's everything in the middle.
My wife keeps looking at the bottom of my feet. She thinks there's an expiration date.
We're going to talk more about you personally here in a minute. But let's talk about it. So people are aware. If they're not aware, Covenant Community Services, you've got Covenant Coffee. When did that begin? Why did you start that? How is it doing? I mean, I remember when you first started and how it's grown. So.
Yeah, you built our website, so it was great. And we're still doing it and hoping to cup. We launched because the 12-year-olds that we took to camp turned 18, and I always said, hey, if you need something, come see me. And they came and found us. And we were still doing just traditional foster care, and then we took over a program called Building Blocks that the county ran. It's a 12-unit apartment complex. And then those youth started saying, hey, we're having a hard time finding jobs. Well, they were finding jobs, but very quickly leaving them because they never learned like how to show up on time or what to wear, and don't tell your boss where to go when he tells you to mop the floor. So we had to do some job readiness, job prep, resume. So then we're like, well, wait a minute, let's start a company that we can actually employ people with and have some fun. And so there wasn't really a coffee roaster in town. There was some micro roaster happening, but when we developed that, we found a niche, and sticking to kind of the true traditional culture of coffee, cappuccinos, espressos, really fine specialty coffee that we bring in from around the world and roast here. So then partnering with agencies like you guys back in the day, and great customers here in town, Milt, Sully's, Rio Bravo, Seven Oaks, Luigi's, 24th Street, a lot of places around town that are great restaurants serve our coffee and employ foster youth in the doing of it. Then we have a subscription program. So it's going good. It's kind of the summer months, so we do a lot of cold brew right now, but we have the mobile pink lady that comes out all the time, and we do events. We were just at back to school week and going out and
because your brick and mortar location, that's still up over in Chester, up in Oildale.
Yep, 1700 North Chester.
And then you guys have a mobile.
Yeah, we call it the Pink Lady. It's an old UPS truck, but we bought it from some gals in Colorado. It was called the Go-Go Girls Coffee Company. Yeah. So it's hot pink, and the upholstery's pink. So it's a real big hit in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But the rest of the month, it's pink. But it's cool. We just left it that way. So it's the Pink Lady and full espresso bar inside. We do weddings and events, and it's tons of fun.
So anybody that hires you or purchases your coffee, proceeds of that go to help support the program?
100%. Yeah, it's not a 10%, 15%. It's 100%. And so we're having a lot of fun. And now we're ramping up. We're just going to start out doing some things with probably getting on Amazon. So that'll be
really
very cool.
Oh, that's big time, bud. That's big time. Well, we're talking here. We're trying to get more active on social media. So we got Olivia in here. Do we wave at? So you can't see us. Me and Randy are waving right now.
Yeah, I'm doing the
shaka
hang
bra.
Loose thing. Shaka bra. Hook 'em horns, gig 'em Aggies, whatever it is. I don't know. Hopefully I just didn't flash a gang sign to somebody.
So one of your future plans. I mean, what's going on in the world of Covenant Coffee and the community services?
Yeah, future. We had a $8 million building project going on. We were increasing some housing space here in Kern County, and that's not on hold, but it kind of got shifted during some of the economic challenges that happened, meaning that contractors' prices almost doubled. That was the challenge, not that there wasn't money. It's just that the budget shifted literally in a year. So what we had a line item for this turned into that. So now we're having to reconfigure that, but it would add about 50 more slots for youth here in Kern County, which is needed. But things are great. We're really enjoying the work. North Chester's fun. And that's what I say. That's our roasting house when we pump a lot of coffee out of there.
That's a cool building too.
Yeah, old Bank of America, man. That's lit. Got the retro look at it, and it's really cool. Still got the vault in there. So we'll lock people up for $1,000 in a vault.
There you go.
Check it off their bucket list. No, it's good. Thanks for asking. And we got a great team there, and no plans on any changes other than maybe some expansion. We got a lot of folks calling us from other states asking, hey, can we replicate this? And so we're kind of handing the playbook over to Florida right now and also to Illinois.
That's good. So you're one of 6 kids. You're the youngest, oldest,
Baby.
middle? You're the baby. So you're the one that had to really get tough, and you ended up with the most ball of energy out of all of them.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
It seems like
that's because they're all old and they're hopefully listening. If not, I'll make sure they do. I'm the only one that's in the 50s now. So they got their own club. Yeah. I don't think I can eat with them because I don't get the discount.
No.
Yeah.
Soon enough. Don't rush it. Again, you're such an interesting character. I love all my meetings with you and interactions. A lot of listeners don't know anything about you. Tell them how many bicycles you had run through your house one time.
Yeah. So a buddy of mine, Sam Ames, puts on a race, Rock Cobbler, and it's about 4 years ago. We had about 500 cyclists ride through my back fence, past our pool, through the slider, right through the den and front area, out the front door. Yeah, it was.
How did you prep your wife for that? I mean, hey, we were talking, we got an idea. Well, let me run this by you.
There's some wine involved and the promise of a new floor. The floor was coming anyway. We just thought it'd be cool to have a bike race, and so it was a Guinness official kind of event, but only after. We forgot that you had to do it before, and they were supposed to send somebody. But it's still the only race I know that has 500 riders go through a house.
Yeah, no,
so it made national news, international news. It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
but and nobody got hurt, so it was a great time. They just kind of rode through a house.
So you guys still do Rock Cobbler? I mean, that's an annual.
Yeah, so this will be year 10. So one of my other personalities comes out at that event. That's Taco Man. Yeah. And that's my, Instagram, Taco Man 661. You can see all the shenanigans on there. But I actually did a Rotary Taco Man exit for one of the Rotary, folks that whatever you guys call
demotions.
That. Yeah, demotions. Yeah. So that was fun. But Taco Man's for hire.
Yeah. Okay. So. They just reach out to you. How do they
just
get a hold
for tacos, basically.
Yeah, just for tacos. You work for tacos.
I'm big on Taco too.
Yeah, wouldn't know that by the socks and the outfit and
or the taco, but,
or the moniker.
Yeah, right. What's this all about? No, so Taco Man shows up at the event now and always has been, and so that's kind of a deal. So this will be year 10, and this year we'll have some pretty good shenanigans going on. Last year, one of the guys decided to ride his bike into the path of a bull and got hit by a bull. So last year was the bull event. So we'll have bull tacos next year. And
intentionally?
No, yeah. I mean, just you see wildlife. Just as this is a safety moment here, brought to you by our 2 Cents podcast. If you see wildlife on a bicycle, go the other way. Now, if it's a bull, go the other way fast. If you're riding in a large area like they were on a known ranch, which we were glad to ride on, and they gave us access to, just didn't know the guys with spandex would ride at the large VW-sized animal. Yeah. And he did not appreciate it. And he got him. Bam. Hit one of them. Bam. The other one goes, 3 guys. But one guy finished 8th, but he didn't want to talk about it because he's in the bike business, so he's not going to rat himself out that he... We kept it a little quiet because we didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah. But the rancher didn't. He's like, this is why I don't like bicycles.
I don't want bicycles hitting my cow.
Wearing pantyhose riding into my cow. No rancher in Kern County said that.
All right. Well, so you did kind of figure out how to top riding bicycles through houses.
Yeah.
Bulls
Get hit by a bull.
So this one's going to be really interesting this year.
I have no idea, man.
What's the date for the next one?
February. It's the second weekend in February. I don't know. It's 12, 13, somewhere around there. Yeah. It's one of those. But it'll be interesting. It's always a blast, man. Yeah. And there's always some shenanigans. Barry Hibbert had a celebrity spot. One year we had him at Ethel's. And he had on, now get this, I want you to really get this imagery. He had a white tank top that used to be called something else that you can't call it now because of culturally sensitive times.
White tank
so he had a white tank top. I think they're actually called A shirts or something like that is the real thing. Cut off jean shorts, cowboy boots.
Oh, all right.
And he was standing next to a kiddie pool full of water, and the cyclists had to come to his booth, take off their socks, get in the water, and he then staple pinned their socks onto their jersey, and that's how they could finish the ride. So if the imagery of Mr. Hibbard looking amazing.
Yeah.
He had a cowboy hat on too.
There's got to be photos somewhere of that spectacle.
I think he confiscated them.
I bet.
He tried out. Where they dance in the bar at Vegas.
Oh, Coyote.
Yeah, he tried out at Coyote, but they said he was too tall. He hit his head on the ceiling.
I just went to Barry's wedding just recently, so I got to hang out with him. So I'll make sure he listens to this episode for sure. What else do we cover, man? I think we've covered a lot of great stuff about you. I mean, you're just if people want to help with Covenant, what do they do? Where do they go? How do they find you?
Yeah, so our website, thank you for that, covenantcs.net is our website, covenantcoffee.org. They can purchase coffee. We sell office coffee, K-Cups. They can come to the shop. We have a great lunch, breakfast. They can support.
What are your hours for the location?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 7 to 1. Oh, funny story. So this guy, Yelp, you got to love Yelp. You're in business and you got to do all the things you do for customer reviews.
Yelp. Yeah.
So this one, this guy says his Yelp is about Covenant Coffee. He goes, man, I'm so disappointed. I went there and there wasn't one nun working.
So how did you explain that?
I just said, hey, sorry, it's not a convent. It's a covenant.
That's awesome.
Come back next week. I'll have a nun.
We'll have a nun for you. All right, so this is the last part of our interview here, and this is what we call our rapid fire questions. But I throw in a fourth one every time. What's a quote that you live by?
The dark is only as scary as you make it.
Dark is only as scary as you make it. Yeah, right there. Dark.
It's right there.
Oh, that's right. It's right there at the top. What is the best advice you've ever received?
From my father. And I did a coming of age ceremony for my kid when he was 12. And I had each man that was influential in his life give him a gift and then talk about it. And then my dad went and he said, there's 3 things every man has to know: who God is, who he wants to spend the rest of his life with, and what's he going to do with his life. I was like, where did this come from?
You've saved this till now?
Yeah, you pull out the big guns? How did I get this talk?
Yeah, it could have changed a lot for you in the early days. Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Adding value to other people's lives.
Yeah. You do a fantastic job of that, brother.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, just friends with the foster youth. I mean, I think it appears to everybody that you come in contact. That's just who you are, which I love about you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
So here's my. What's one thing about you that would just totally shock people? Like, whoa! I mean, there's a lot, the taco thing and everything else, but like even like your music preferences. I mean, if somebody goes, "Oh, you like what song?"
Well, I think. Music, I baby of 6, you don't get a choice of what you listen to, so I'm very eclectic. And I eat anything too, because by the time you say I don't, it's already gone off your plate. So music, and I love all music. Food, love all food. I think one thing people don't know about me, I was arrested as a spy in East Germany in 1985.
What exactly did you do, Randy, that would cause that kind of attention and that suspicion?
I've watched the movie Atomic Blonde, and so that is a lot of music preferences are in that. But,
okay.
It's about a gal that's a spy, an operative. I didn't do any of those things. I just did the one thing my coach, I was playing soccer, told me not to do, which was take a picture. So I leaned out the train car and took a picture of this facility, and the train stopped. I thought people were getting off and on, and these armed guards came, and just like the movies, man, took me away to a Jason Bourne like dungeon.
No,
kept me back there, kept the train stopped for hours. My coach tried to follow, and they put a machine gun in his belly and told him to sit down, and they went in there, and of course I had a fanny pack because it's 1985.
Yeah, of course.
And they went and got my fanny pack. But right before the train stopped, my camera will cut. So I opened up the back like we did back in the day, and I put in a new canister of film and then put the old canister in those little black tubes.
Yeah.
Put it in my fanny pack. And so we get in there, and the guy's just screaming at me now in German. And he looks like Colonel Klink from Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
And he's just yelling at me, and the guards are there, and it's seriously this dank cement tomb room. And I'm 17. And so I'm like, well, I'm never going to go home. I'm going to Siberia or wherever they take people at that time. And I just kept saying no. And he's like putting this translation book out. You're a spy. You're under arrest for this. I'm like, I'm not a spy. And he's like, photos. You take photos. I'm like, here's my camera. Look at it. And he takes it. And then right before he grabbed it from me, I grabbed the camera and I popped the back real quick. And I just started ripping the film out. And he's like slamming his fist on the table.
Well, that probably didn't help your case much.
Well, I couldn't let him know that I'm going to look like a real spy when he finds out that the other canisters got the real pictures on it.
Oh, okay.
So I had to like self-expose myself. And so then he's going ape, and they make me sign all this stuff. And they make me sign my name backwards because I can't read whatever writing they have out. So my name was Randall Lewis Martin, but when I was there, it was Martin Lewis Randall. And then they're like, if there's any problems with your passport, we're going to detain you on the way out of the country. So I was like, I love America. I'll just tell you that right
now. I want to go home now.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, we're going to tour to East Berlin tomorrow. I'm like, I'm not leaving. I'm looking for ways out of this safe zone we're in. You know, years later, the wall came down. I'm like crying in my front room. Kim's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, come on, man. I was almost nostalgic. So that's one thing.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, man. I so appreciate you taking time out of your day and doing this, and I love it.
Man. I love what you guys are doing. I mean, I see some of the names, guests that come on, Ryan. I mean, everybody. You have friends of mine, and just neat that you guys are exposing Kern County to a lot of different characters and what they're doing in the world. So appreciate you guys for doing that and sharing your 2 cents.
Thank you, man. I had like a 1 cent there for a while, but now, now I got 2 cents.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Again, thanks for joining me, man. Love you, dude, and keep doing what you're doing.
All right, man.
Bye.
This show has been brought to you by the Law Office of Kyle Jones, Troy Burton with the Lynn Company, CPA John Duffield, Scott Hansen Real Estate Lender, broker and investor, Dave Plivelich, President and CEO of the Marcom Group and MarcomBranding.com, and Amanda DiGiacomo, President of Atlas Financial Solutions. You've been listening to the Our 2 Cents podcast. Check out the show notes for links and more information about the show. Also visit our website at our2centspodcast.com or catch us on Instagram at Our 2 Cents Podcasts. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share with others.